This week, I have a short one, a short thing that someone wrote online, and we're going to discuss it. And this person has said, Cell should have been in the Tournament of Power instead of Frieza. A one-liner. And we're going to discuss that now. So what do you think? Should they have brought back Cell instead of Frieza?
Um, from a entertainment standpoint, no, because Frieza is a more engaging villain in my opinion.
I agree with that.
So purely from an entertainment standpoint, I would say no.
Hmm.
In terms of power levels, things like that, you could argue that from what they knew, well, no, because you couldn't even say that because by then they'd met Frieza again and seen that he'd increased in power.
Yeah.
So why would they think to go back to Cell when they already knew that Frieza had gotten stronger than Cell?
I guess because Frieza's shown that he's still unreliable, still evil. Why would he want to help out? And yes, Cell is also evil, but they also know he has the combined strength, well, the genes, the genetics of like 10 top fighters or whatever, including Frieza, I guess. He has some of Frieza's genes in there as well. And if they had him with all of his abilities, his regen abilities as well, which would be very handy for the Tournament of Power, um,
You can't
maybe.
kill anyone though.
That's true. You can't kill them, but Cell in his own right is a incredible fighter. And since they already brought Frieza back once in Super, why not bring back another villain?
Yeah, and I mean, let's argue that. So Goku has a trump card on Frieza of how to keep him under control.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically, you help us, I bring you back to life.
Mm.
Okay? Let's say that Cell and Frieza are the exact same power level. Goku knows this. He can choose who to bring back. If they needed to deal with them and they were the exact same power level, which one would you want to deal with? The one that can come back to life very easily and get stronger when they come back to life because they have Zenkai powers, or the one that will die and just die?
Yes, but also, I mean, yeah, okay, you've got a fair point there. But because of that Zenkai ability, Cell can power up even stronger throughout the Tournament of Power, I guess. You can keep injuring him. Every time he gets injured, he comes back stronger, which would be a bigger help compared to Frieza getting injured because he doesn't come back stronger. He stays the same. He's just very quick at learning, I guess.
Frieza's so much smarter than Cell, in my opinion.
Is he really, though?
I think Frieza's a master tactician.
Hmm. He was in the Tournament of Power,
Mm.
admittedly, but every other time we've seen him, I wouldn't really say he was a master technician.
Actually,
Tactician.
yeah, no, saying that he really wasn't. His pride was literally his downfall every time. He's literally wanted to see people suffer.
Yeah, he's too stubborn.
Yeah, he's literally done a Vegeta.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, he's stood on top of people and literally tried to make them suffer.
Mhm.
He would rather see people suffer than finish them off. But then again, Cell does the exact same thing. He hosted the Cell games.
He did.
Like he could have killed everybody straight away. So they're exactly the same in that regard. But that's because Cell has Frieza genes.
Yeah.
So
I don't know though.
um,
If Cell, well, we've seen Cell go all out in fights, um, but I guess would Cell have came back as perfect Cell because he hasn't. He needs to absorb the androids, which is obviously his main thing for becoming strong. So if they brought him back, would he need to absorb 17 and 18 again, or would he come back somehow perfect already?
he died and came back perfect, if you remember, because he died in semi perfect when he blew up, and he
Hmm.
came back as perfect,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
which never ever made sense in any way, shape, or form. They never explained that.
Yes, I guess he
But
would come back perfect.
so yeah, but based on that logic, he would have stayed perfect when he died,
Hmm.
which means he would have came back perfect.
Which arguably means he would come back with a massive Zenkai boost as well.
That's where I would get the logic for him being as strong as Frieza.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think just based on moves alone, techniques, special moves, Cell takes it. Do you not
does he
think?
though? Because like Frieza has new moves in the Tournament of Power.
He
That
does, but that's because he trained for what, the 3 months to become golden.
yeah, so those moves are moves that Cell doesn't have. The only moves that Cell has are the ones that he's stolen from the genes that he's got.
Yeah,
He won't have the new moves that Frieza has, so you could literally just offset that.
it's true, but Frieza
And Frieza
has
knows how to steal moves as well. Like he's got the destructo discs and stuff as well.
kind of, but they were always his thing, I guess. Cell will also know how to do Destructo Disc because he has the genes.
Yeah,
But he also knows the Kamehameha, which is obviously one of the strongest moves in Dragon Ball. And he also will know the Gallic Gun. He knows the oh, what's it called? The Flash thing.
solar flare.
Solar Flare. Yeah, of course he knows that, which is a highly
Really didn't
useful
get
move.
used enough. That should have
It
been used a
doesn't.
lot more
You would think
in
so, yeah.
a tournament where you can't kill people and only disable them. That should have been used a lot more.
Yeah, and Sal knows how to do that because he's used it in Z as well. And just because he does get the Zenkai buffs, and I know you can't kill anyone in the Tournament of Power, but Cell, his body is technically kind of weak because he can regrow limbs and he does many times. If he does take a big shot to the arm or to the leg or chest or anywhere, I mean, he won't die from it either way because he can regen. So he can get hurt, lose a limb, regen, and get a Zenkai buff from it. He will be constantly growing stronger throughout this tournament, and because he has all of these moves already, I think he might have been a better choice than Frieza. The only reason they brought him back was because of the massive fan base that Frieza has, and the fact they gave him a new form just previously.
Maybe.
I
I
wouldn't be
mean,
against it.
well, I wouldn't be against it. He was a very engaging. I love Cell as a villain.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. I don't know how I feel about him being in superheroes because I don't know, but I know it's not confirmed that he is.
Yeah, it's
But
still it's hinted at heavily.
yeah, it's like you've seen the big ball chamber thing
Mm,
that looks like it. It's nigh on. If he doesn't end up in it, I'll be very surprised.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it's not going to be the same cell. There's no way it'll be the exact same cell.
no.
It is, which is why I'm not really that fussed on him. But that's a whole other discussion. Um, in I'm a big fan of Cell. I love Cell.
Mhm.
I just don't think it would have the same dynamic. That's the thing for me. Where yes, he would be a very strong fighter, but the thing the thing that you have to remember is that there are a lot of important parts in there of you have to have the Frieza Goku dynamic, and that's what makes it.
Yes, yeah, you do. That's right. I agree with that.
Like
Um,
Gohan's not really about enough. It's if there was if for Cell to come back, Cell would be angry at Gohan. He wouldn't care about Goku.
well, he kind
He
of
would
would still.
not enough. I don't think he would care enough. I think he would be annoyed at Goku, but the whole thing is Goku goes to get Frieza,
Mm,
yeah, and there's a massive dynamic between Goku and Frieza with the background Vegeta, which is kind of there but not massively.
mm,
But it's Goku and Frieza, and there's a constant tension. You don't know if Frieza's going to betray him, yeah. And there's literal moments where Frieza finds Goku on the floor, and you have the moment where Frieza gives him his energy,
mm.
and that's a massive throwback. That's a huge moment. and there are moments like that, and there's always the dynamic of the betrayal. Yeah.
Mhm.
You can't have that with Cell and Gohan because Gohan is always with Piccolo. Yeah. Throughout. And Gohan just doesn't have that. It doesn't have that personality. It doesn't have that charisma to pull off that.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and so Cell would just be goading him constantly. And Gohan he just doesn't have it in him. He would just say, "Leave me alone, you doo-doo head," or something like that. And it's just, he's not like,
If
he's not got the
anything,
fight in him
yeah,
to, I don't think he's got a fight in him to,
it would have pushed Gohan more into the spotlight because it would have been more between the dynamic of Cell and Gohan. But I do still feel like, Cell is made up of all these fighters that are in the tournament pretty much. Well, not so much the androids, but pretty much everyone else. And he has history with everyone in it. Literally everyone. Like Frieza has no interaction with the androids previously.
that
Um,
would be interesting.
but apart from that, Cell has interactions with everyone. It would be interesting to see Cell and 17 and 18 together again to see what happens there. New dynamic coming back. But yeah, Cell has fought everyone, even him and Tien. They're like, oh, you're the tri-beam guy. Yeah. Don't do that again. But yeah, he has met actually, apart from Roshi, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't met Roshi.
But even then, Roshi
Um,
was around in that arc. He just doesn't necessarily fight him. But then again, Frieza never fights Roshi either. So, Frieza has less. He knows less of the team than Cell does. So yeah, there is a lot. He doesn't need to be fully focused on Gohan the whole time. He has problems with literally everyone on the team, pretty much, including the androids. So yeah,
I mean, I suppose Gohan can be. Yeah, I don't know if face is the word, but like he can be he can be cold when he needs to be.
yeah,
Um, so I suppose that he can have his moments. So we can basically before the fight, before the tournament, you can basically step to him and he just says like if you're going to be like this the entire time, we'll have it out now,
mm,
okay? And you could literally maybe just batter Cell or something like that, and just say, remember this moment,
mm,
okay? And it could lead to maybe a betrayal moment or something in the tournament.
yeah,
And just say, okay, I did remember this moment.
yeah.
And he could have just betrayed him or something. And it could even lead to Cell kicking Gohan out of the tournament or something like that.
There's high potential. Think about this for a second. Even if he came back as Perfect Cell and they went into the tournament, no killing allowed. That's all fine. Well, let's
And he
say,
absorbs.
yeah, let's say they
I
wanted to
was
give
thinking that.
Cell a new form again. What if he absorbs the androids for a second time? What if somehow, like, 18 is near death, almost eliminated, and he decides, you know what? Instead of you being thrown out of here, let me absorb you. It is for the sake of the entire universe. You're not going to be dead. You're going to be inside me, still alive. As soon as I spit you out, you're alive again, so don't worry about it. She won't be eliminated from the tournament. She's not technically dead. She's just absorbed. And he powers up again. New form. Maybe you could do the same with 17. I know 17's ultimately the savior and he wins it, but he doesn't need to be. What if Cell absorbs him as well? Perfecta Cell.
Beyond perfect.
Yeah, that gives Cell just an opportunity to flex a new form as well, like Frieza's flexing the golden form.
Ultra instinct perfect Cell.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, there are potential for interesting dynamics. I mean, it could, like I said, Gohan can be cold when he needs to be.
Hmm.
Um, it's just, could he be? Um,
Yeah.
I think a lot would. I think the entire story of the Tournament of Power would have to change.
Yeah, completely. Because, yeah, going back to the whole absorbent thing, that's a massive thing for Krillin as well. He sees his wife almost eliminated. She will be eliminated. And Cell's offering, you know what? I can absorb you and I'll be stronger. I'll be able to save the universe if you let me absorb you. And Krillin's there on the sidelines, already eliminated, thinking,
I was going to say he'll already be out, so
yeah, and he's thinking, do I really want my wife to be absorbed again by this monster? Like maybe he's
let's see.
begging 18 to just jump out the ring to avoid being absorbed, but at the same time he's thinking about the universe and thinking, "Oh, Cell will get stronger." Like that whole dynamic, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, especially he's promising I will spit you back out afterwards. I
Yeah, it's like
promise.
wink. Yeah, you can trust me. Yeah, it's
Oh,
that risk.
it could be interesting, but the entire story would change. But
Oh
I
yeah,
suppose that makes
100%.
sense that it would. But
Yeah.
because the amount that Frieza's story in the Tournament of Power, he did it. He was obviously integral to the story,
Mm.
but he didn't. The majority of the story doesn't change if you swap him out. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
If you put Cell in, I think you would have to rewrite the entire story
Yeah, 100%.
because of who he is.
Another thing
I
they
think,
could do,
yeah,
like as well, because a part of Frieza's story was the fact that he's with Frost, and showing Frost how to transform and be buff version, I guess. They could change Frost as a character as well and bring in Cell, like literally Cell, but from a different universe. And it's just first form Cell, and he's very good at sucking the energy out of humans, and that's why he's strong, and that's why he's a fighter on the team. And then there's Perfect Cell, just like, ha, you're still in base form. Look, try and absorb one of your teammates, and then maybe he tries to absorb Kaba, for example, because Kaba, even though he's a great character, as far as the story of the Tournament of Power goes, he doesn't really do that much in the actual tournament. Imagine if that universe's Cell, since he's replacing Frost in this instance, just decides to absorb Kaba and then he has a new form there. That would be pretty cool to see as well.
yeah. And then like Kefla or whatever, like actually punches him in the stomach and spits him back out.
Yeah, yeah, because you could just, instead of having the dynamic of Frieza and Frost, you have Cell and Cell instead.
Yeah. Or just literally sacrifice like just a randomer. Um
Yeah,
and Zeno approves of it because they're not dead. They thought it was cool
yeah.
and they're technically dead.
And
So
that's
it gets
why later
okayed.
on, our Cell, like the actual universe's Cell, is like to 18, like, look, I won't get eliminated. You won't be dead. I can do this and power up. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be quite interesting.
Hmm.
That's so Sal's just being clever. He's like, try it.
Yeah.
So he's tested the theory. So because Zeno would okay that. He would 100% okay that
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially
because
since they're
he's
not technically dead. He just needs to spit them
yeah
out.
because he's twisted little thing. Both of them
Yeah. Yeah.
freaks.
So, yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Do I like Frieza being back? Yes. Would I mind Cell coming back instead? Probably not. Probably
Yeah,
not.
Broly wouldn't be a thing though.
That's true. Yeah.
Or oh no, not necessarily. You could just not have Frieza involved. Paragus could just come back.
Yeah. That's true. Frieza
So
doesn't really need to be there.
You would just not involve Frieza.
Yeah.
You could just have Paragon, like you could have like Sheila and that, looking for people for someone who's rebuilding the Freezer force
Hmm.
on they're just rebuilding the Freezer force without Freezer.
Hmm.
They've just took command of it.
Because someone would have had to have done that anyway before they brought back Frieza the first time.
Yeah, so Sheila and thing is still I don't know the other guy's name.
I can't
And
remember.
no, so very unimportant character.
Yeah.
So they still find Broly in that power. So they still come back. And they still go to Earth to get the Dragon Balls to revive Frieza, with it just as a plan. But Paragus finds out about Vegeta and that, and then that still happens.
Yeah.
So Frieza doesn't get revived. They still keep the Dragon Balls, so that can still all happen as planned.
And maybe instead of Frieza killing Paragus to enrage him, Paragus slips off a cliff or something like that and dies.
Or literally, Broly does just accidentally kill him.
All that, yeah, that might happen as well.
It literally that could be it. I mean, like he would get angry for the exact same reason. As far as Broly's concerned, he doesn't know Frieza. I don't think Broly knows otherwise. I don't think he knows Frieza killed him.
No,
He
no, he
didn't
doesn't.
say
He
it.
thinks it's just a random beam that kills him.
Yeah, so why does it need to be different?
It doesn't. No, I think the only big change would be that since Frieza is revived at the end of the Tournament of Power, and he does start to rebuild the Frieza Force. That's what we see from the Broly film. That wouldn't happen at all, and Cell would be back alive instead, and arguably he would just try and destroy the planet again. So they would have to deal with Cell straight away. Like, they don't need to deal with Frieza straight away. Frieza could say, look, I'm just going to go away. Which I'm guessing is what happens anyway, because they do leave Frieza to leave. They let him leave.
He says, I'm not going to behave.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Goku just says, we'll deal with you if you don't.
Yeah,
and they
exactly.
Do.
But Cell has nowhere to go, though. So they need to deal with Cell straight away, kind of. Unless Cell decides, you know what? I had my fun. I'll just be a good guy now. Why not?
I mean, he can survive in space, can't he?
Yeah. Because he has Frieza's genes, so he can breathe in space.
Yeah, they could just give him a ship and just say, go chill, and they can choose to bring him back later if they wish.
Yeah.
So they can say, like, look, we'll bring you back live. We'll give you a ship. You leave.
And
that's it. I mean, it's not a good idea because he'll just train and come back and
he'll just keep absorbing people from other planets and stuff constantly.
Yeah, but I suppose it's better than having your universe deleted. So
yeah, but I guess that would be an interesting dynamic for when they do finally reemerge. Well, Cell does finally reemerge. If he has been absorbing the strongest fighters that he's found on other planets, that type of thing, he could come back as a completely different form. And everyone's like, wait, that's Cell? And then that would be like a whole new boss, a whole new character to fight, even though it is the same person.
Just get a Beerus Hakai on the way. It's fine. Didn't worry about
nah, because they have to go through Goku and Vegeta first for Beerus to step in and be like, all right.
Yeah.
Boop.
I mean, the thing is, you can't regen from a Hakai because it just destroys your entity. So it's fine.
Exactly. So
so it's like you should do that. They should do that. They're like, okay, Beerus, we won. So can you just get rid of him entirely now?
Even though Beerus isn't supposed to directly interfere with stuff, but yeah, if Goku and Vegeta fail and they beg and plead and stuff or whatever, then yeah, why not?
We'll give you ramen. What is it? They love ramen. I'm sure it's ramen or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I think we're both in agreement that we wouldn't mind it, but Frieza's a great character anyway.
I think it's not a terrible take. I could live with it either way.
Yeah.
But I do love the Frieza Goku dynamic.
Yeah.
And the Frieza laugh is just kind of irreplaceable.
It is. It is. Yeah. Frieza is too iconic of a character, so I am happy with the fact that they did go with Frieza. But like you said, I wouldn't be mad if they did decide to go with Cell instead. Frieza had his spotlight return already. If they brought Cell back as well, then yeah, I would have been fine with that.
Which it looks like they're going to do anyway. So
potentially, yeah, who knows?